So as I was making today's video, I realized that it was deeper than I originally thought it was going to be. Sometimes we hang on to the physical things that we have and don't realize how much they're holding us back. And that's kind of an illustration not just for the physical things, but for life itself. And I talk about this later in the video, but it's okay to let things go. It's okay to move on. It's important that we not cling to the past. It is good and healthy to say, I'm moving on. So here's how I learned that lesson from Raylan, and I hope that we can all learn that same lesson too. Enjoy. What do you think, Raylan? You gonna look at this old stuff with me? So I have here some nursing notes going back from, I don't even know how far. Some of these are at least a couple years old, maybe as much as 5 or 6 years old, but basically these nursing notes go over all of the care that she received from nurses while they were on duty. So we just recently switched nursing agencies, which means that we don't need to keep these things anymore. And actually we probably could have discarded some of them a while back because we don't really need them all the way back. But before discarding them, I thought it'd be interesting to kind of go through some of them and see maybe how Raylan's changed, or maybe any interesting information that I could kind of glean a little bit. There's way too many to go through all of the nursing notes, but I thought I'd just kind of glance around a little bit and see what I can learn.
Wish that I could stay in this moment forever, so I can hold you in my arms.
I'm going to flip to the pink pages. All these white pages are actually not nursing notes, it's plans of care. So I'm going to flip to actually where the nurses wrote stuff. So this one here is from a little less than a year ago. It said that she had seizure activity and they were about 30 seconds long. She had some secretions. She got a shower. I assisted with that. She got her hair blow dried and fixed. Honestly, not a lot to learn there.
I will carry you on my shoulders as long as I'm able. Scare the monsters under your bed.
Here's one from the day before. It says that her nurse arrived about 7 a.m. Raylan was already awake. She got her shaker vest, medications, bed bath. Just looks like a normal day. Here's the week before. Same kinds of things. We're going to try a different book.
Until my heart gives in, I will do everything I can for you.
Go through some of this over here as well. In all honesty, none of this even matters at all to keep. A lot of this is just initialing various things that they happened in terms of Raylan's care, and a lot of this just looks exactly the same from day to day, week by week, month by month. There's absolutely no reason to keep any of that. Now this is interesting. Some of these papers actually have Raylan's old name on it before we adopted her. I'm not going to be showing that on camera. Her name was still Raylan, but it was spelled differently. Now she has a different last name. She has our last name, but that was interesting to see. But as far as her care goes, it's really kind of pointless to actually keep any of these old papers. It doesn't affect her care going forward, and while it might be interesting to kind of see patterns over time, to put any of that into a meaningful, spreadsheet or database would take forever. And it really wouldn't help all that much. What matters far more than keeping all of these nursing notes is simply being aware of, all the changes that take place over time. It's the big things, not all these minutia little things. Whether certain meds or certain treatments helped her long term, not the day by day stuff. And not to say that this doesn't matter, day by day. Obviously, nurses need to keep nursing notes showing that she is getting cared for and that kind of stuff. But it's not something we need to keep for decades.
Crazy how much there is, though. How much has been written about her.
Yeah. My wife just said from the other room, it is insane how much stuff has been written about Raylan. Just page after page after page of, she got up, she woke up, she had a seizure. It was 30 seconds long. It was 5 minutes long. She got a bed bath, she got a shower. And a lot of these pages say the same thing over and over and over again. Kind of makes you wonder about life in general. Like, if we were to analyze our own lives, what would be written about us? That's an interesting thought, isn't it? So to conclude, I don't need all this. We can let it go. Sometimes we need to let the past go. What's far more important than all these notes is the memories that we have with Raylan. We're so grateful to have her in our lives. We're very blessed. We don't need to cling to the past. We can move on towards the future. No matter where you're at in life, I hope that you're clinging to those hopes and joys. What you think? What you think? Yep. You ready to let all this go? That's a lot.
You will grow up in the blink of an eye and move out and be on your own. But no matter what comes your way, I will stay right here beside you to catch you if you fall.
So as I was editing this video, I was thinking more about these same kinds of things. I was thinking about how applicable this is to all of life, really. We can get so focused on the past. We can get so focused on the baggage from yesterday, last year, decades before. We get so focused on clinging to those things, and it kind of just holds us back from living the life that really is joyful for us, living the life that really we ought to be living, a life full of hope and joy. And sometimes we just need to give ourselves permission to let go of that. And it really can be that simple. Now, of course, sometimes it's not that simple. Sometimes you have to work through traumas, you have to work through pains and hurts, and you have to forgive yourself or forgive other people around you, or allow yourself to be forgiven by the people around you. And that can all be a very difficult thing sometimes. Sometimes it's hard to let go of the past, but sometimes it can be very necessary to let go of the past. I can't remember what movie it was, but maybe it was The Lion King. I don't remember. Talk about how the past can hurt. There's no question about that, but we can either run from it or learn from it.
Change is good.
And there's no sense hanging on to hurtful things in the past for the next 10, 20, 30 years when we could move on and be joyful for those next 10, 20, 30 years. And this goes not just for harmful memories, but also like how we used our time as well. I've been thinking a lot about, it's really easy to get into this mindset of, I need to keep on doing what I'm doing or else I've wasted all the time leading up to this. Whether you're talking about your career or a relationship or your lifestyle, it's good every once in a while to analyze not just where you've been, but where you want to be. And if where you want to be is different from the trajectory of where you've been and where you're going, it's okay to sever yourself from that past in order to pursue the future that you want. Sometimes that means quitting a job that you've had for decades. Not that that job was a failure, but rather that you've done what you needed to do at that job, or you've learned what you needed to learn, and it's time simply to move forward in a different direction. That can go for relationships too. Not that those relationships were a mistake, although sometimes they could be, right? But rather that you've learned from them, you've grown from them, but it's okay to say, I don't need to cling to this relationship forever. But boyfriends, girlfriends, even sometimes church friends, we need to be willing to say, I've learned, I've grown, I don't hold anything against you, I forgive you, I hope you'll forgive me, but it's time to move on. These kinds of things can definitely be part of the healing process of growing and being more hopeful and joyful as a human being. Now, I say all this, I also think this shouldn't be like the normal everyday kind of thing. If we're constantly thinking I gotta change, I have to change everything from my past, change everything about my future, that can be a bit unstable, right? But once in a while, as a natural part of life, we need to be able to say, and it's probably a pretty rare thing, but it is an okay thing to say, I've grown, I need to let go of the past, I need to move into a different direction. That's life, that's growth, that's normal, and it can be part of a healthy, hopeful, joyful future. Cling to that hope and joy. I hope that you have it. God bless you, and we'll see you again next time.
I will do everything I